Welcome to the channel. Today I want to talk about social anxiety and how it really affected me, especially when I was younger. Hold on, a train's going by. Sorry about that, guys. And how it affected me when I was younger, especially, in my teens and early 20s. And later on in video, I want to talk about the things that I did to improve my social skills, in hopes that it will help somebody out there that's suffering with social anxiety. So let's begin. You know what, guys? I was signed around people that I knew. I was just so awkward. I was so awkward around people that I didn't know. And I couldn't understand why at the beginning. And especially around groups of people that I didn't know, my anxiety would be next level. You know what? I'm one of the soundest guys you'll ever meet. If I know you, we can have a fantastic conversation. No anxiety, no issues. But it's just the people that I didn't know. And like I said, especially around groups of people, my anxiety would be next level. I just felt like I couldn't be myself. I felt like I weren't normal. I couldn't think straight. And I'd stutter my words and things like that. And it really got to me back then. I couldn't understand what it was. But later on as time went by, I understood. But anyway, I used to go to my grandma's every Boxing Day. All family used to have a get together. Used to have a big fat spread on table, sausage rolls, crisps, sandwiches, pork pies, you name it, we had it. And I used to absolutely dread going. I'd have panic attacks thinking about it, and sometimes I'd make excuses up not to go. But yeah, that sent my anxiety through the roof like. So I'd end up rocking up at my grandma's. Bearing in mind this was only a very small room, and there'd be over 20 on us, like packed into a room like sardines. Fire were blazing. It were about 1,000,000 degrees, and I'd rock up anxious and nervous as fuck, because I hated being around groups of people. I just couldn't be myself. So I'd be sat there. I used to try and find a little spot in the corner of the room out of the way, but you know what, sometimes them spots would be took up, so I'd have to sit in the middle of the room, like surrounded by everybody. Mate, my anxiety, through the goddamn roof. I'm telling you, it was horrible. And I don't know if you have the same problem, but when my anxiety kicked in, my body temperature rose. I'd start burning up, and I'd start sweating like a motherfucker, honestly. I'd have sweat patches under my arms and lot. And I used to always get up, and I used to walk to bog all the time, pretend I was going for a piss, just to get me son out of that situation, because it was so overwhelming. And I were in the toilet, and I can remember staring into the mirror and thinking, why the fuck are you like this? This is not normal. I couldn't understand back then. I'm like, why is it that I'm okay around the people that I know, but when I'm in a situation where I'm in a group of people, I fall apart, I crumble? It was just, I can remember that to this day, always looking in the mirror and doing that. And I always used to take a toilet break to cool down, because I was that hot. I was burning up. And it didn't help, like I said, with fire blazing and hot body heat from people, because there were over 20 people in there, like. But I used to try and sort myself out, G myself up to go back into the room. I try and take my mind off of anxiety. I'd get a sandwich, a sausage roll, some crisps and whatnot. I'd start munching on them, hoping that nobody would spark a conversation with me. Because like I said, I'd just fall apart. And I didn't know where to put my eyes, as mad as it sounds, innit? And my leg would be shaking like a shitting dog and all. Yeah, so I'd hope that nobody spark a conversation up with me. But they always did. I can remember them saying, "Oh, where you working, James," and all this. And I'd reply with short answers like, I'd forget most of the time where I'd even worked. That's how much my head were gone in that situation. Because I couldn't think straight. The anxiety, when it takes over your body and your mind. It's not good at all. And I used to dread it going every year. And I can remember one day, well, I've done this a few times, I just got up and stormed out because it was just that overwhelming, I couldn't take it. And I can remember a few times, like, I used to walk out of the room and I just burst into tears because I used to say to myself, this is not you. Why are you like this around groups of people? You know, you're alright, you sound around people you know, and it got to me and it made me feel like I were an alien and weird, and I were the only one that were going through it. But that's not the case, is it? As I learned later on in life, it's quite common. But a lot of people are good at hiding their anxiety. But I wasn't. I couldn't hide it at all. Like I said, leg was shaking like a shitting dog. I was shaking and I was sweating. I couldn't speak. I was slurring my words and stumbling my words. It was just crazy, man. But yeah, that was that. Not a nice experience. Guys, if you have been through or are going through similar, post it in comments. I'd love to hear from you. I really would. And maybe if you've got any tips, drop them in comments as well. It's all about helping as many people as we can, like, because this is horrible. Social anxiety is horrible. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Anyway, I had a good friend back then in my early 20s. He always used to ask me, Jammer. He always used to ask me, say, Jammer, do you want to come bowling or do you want to do this and that? I'd always reply saying, who's coming? Is it just me and you, like? Obviously, because I didn't like being around groups of people. And he always said, oh, it's me and a few others, like. And that always used to put me off going because his mates, I didn't know them, do you know what I mean? And it's just the social anxiety, here we go again. It stopped me from doing a lot of things. And I feel bad even to this day for letting him down constantly. But I never told him the reason why I let him down. I bet he just thought I was just being a cunt, but it is what it is. This social anxiety business, it's no joke. Like I said earlier on in video, it takes over your mind, your body. And I couldn't get control over it. Until one day I said, enough's enough. This is not me. I hate this version of myself. I am better than this. You know, because I've mentioned I'm like a broken record. I've mentioned many times in video, I was signed around people I knew. So I just thought, one day I've had enough, man. I've got to do something about this. I hate that version of myself. And what I did to improve my social anxiety, I put myself in certain situations that I wouldn't normally be comfortable in. I.e., later on, when my friend, he started asking me again, do you want to come out? And I thought, you know what? As anxious and nervous as I am, I'm just going to go for it. And I went for it, and it weren't pleasant. But as time went by, things got easier. And I would never normally do this, but I'd spark a conversation up with a few people that I didn't know. Yeah? To improve my social skills. And as time went by, it got a lot easier. This is where it's all about. You've got to... My tip for you is, if you're struggling with social anxiety, put yourself in situations that you wouldn't normally be comfortable in. It will help you a lot. You know, even if you're out walking, spark a conversation up with a randomer. It don't have to be a long conversation, but it's all about taking baby steps and building up your confidence and getting rid of that fear of interaction. And what I used to do as well, every time I went for a walk, there were always a group of people like sat around this bench in picnics and stuff. And I just always used to go up and spark a conversation. Like I said, as uncomfortable as it were, I felt deep down I needed to do it because I've got to improve. You know what I mean? I hated the way I was, and that's what I did. And as time went by, things got better. And family gatherings, is still as unpleasant as they were, they got more bearable, and I could interact and think more clearly because I put myself in them situations, kind of. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, if you're struggling with social anxiety, yeah, it also helps to talk to people. Don't do what I did and don't open up to family members and things like that. I know it might be not pleasant for you and embarrassing, but it's the best thing to do. Talking about our problems really does help. And yeah, like I said, if you're going through social anxiety, you're not on your own, you're not weird. It's more common than you think, but like I said, a lot of people are very good at hiding it. But drop me a comment, join my Discord, send me an email, and we can chat about these things, because I've been there, I know what it's like, and it's not nice, is it? But if I can help as many people as I can through my experiences, yeah, I'm the happiest man on planet, man. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I've rambled on enough. I hope this video really helps you, and if you haven't subscribed, consider whacking that subscribe button. Make sure you like the video if you like it, and a massive thank you to all my regular watchers, regular viewers, and people that comment and support me. It's very much appreciated, and hopefully I'll see you on my next video. Massive respect.